Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron, great having you here with us. Thanks for coming by. I want to talk a little bit about the subject of taking videos out of context. And I've really struggled on what to title this because I'm like, I don't know what to title it really. But here's the deal is, on the channel we're getting close to 5,000 videos by the grace and help of the Lord. Now, a lot of those are Sunday school lessons and services from our church and stuff like that. But probably over 4,000 are just videos just like this, where I sit down talking to a camera. We normally make about 3 a day, unless I'm out of town or something like that. But we don't put all 3. We schedule them out and all this kind of stuff. Because for when I'm out of town, then I have some banked up, So that's the reason you only see 1 or 2 a day usually. But so what I mean by taking them out of context is, let's say I've done 10 videos on the ESV and some of the verses that are missing in there. And let's say on 8 of those videos that I go into, now sometimes this is in the footnotes, and I'll say that. But when you're, from my end, you say it so much, you just don't want to be redundant and say it constantly. And so let's say you miss a couple videos where you say that. You would be shocked, maybe you wouldn't, how often I have just been attacked, what a horrible human being that I haven't pointed out in 2 of the many videos that I did that wasn't in, even sometimes, because it's not in the footnote in every edition. It's only in some or sometimes many editions, and it depends on what verse and what phrase we're talking about. Some, it's just not there in any edition. And so in NIV and all this, NLT, and just people like, you're being dishonest, you're being disingenuous. No, I'm not. And so if you ever look of why for the New Life channel, we did years ago when terrible camera, and it still gets a lot of views, believe it or not. We're trying to come up with like a knowledge library here, and we're very grateful for the people at YouTube to allow us to do that. And so we've been through seasons where we couldn't do playlists because we'd have children's Sunday school, especially through COVID, and then YouTube wouldn't let you do playlists if you make any videos for children in some of our Sunday schools for children, and that's since not happening anymore. We're doing it live, thankfully, but with good social protocols and all this. But, so they're letting us do playlists again. So that's taking videos out of context. Another thing that is an impossible task to do, really impossible, is there are many people that answer videos without watching the video. And then they want you to interact with them through typing. Well, it's really, trust me on this, with my schedule, we don't make any money on the New Life channel. None. It costs us money. We're not set up for advertising. We don't sell t-shirts, anything like that. And so so it costs us money to do this in several different ways. Equipment, chips, SD cards, a lot of microphones, batteries, just a ton of different ways. And so I don't have the time to interact with everybody, and especially when somebody wants to get into this huge soliloquy, and then you get accused of being you're an idiot. And so a lot of times I'll just say, well, on the channel there's a couple videos about that. Well, I don't have time to go look them up and link them either. It's just, I'm the staff. Sister Waldron films it, Sister Fran gets them ready to uploads, and then I watch them, title them, put the little description in the box, and then schedule them out, doing a lot of other things as well. This is not our only ministry. This is just a very small part of what the Lord's given. I teach at IBC. I pastor a couple churches. I've had people attack me for that. Where's that in the Bible? I'm like, well, it's called need. And trust me, I've tried to get people to pastor the other churches. God hasn't opened that door yet. And so I'd love for that to happen. and teach Bible studies in other cities, have preaching points in other cities, and preach out all over. And so, I can't answer everything the way people want to, and it's very frustrating. So when I say, well, if you'll hit like New Life, there'll be a little magnifying glass come up, and it will search all the videos with certain titles in it. And that's just really easy to do. And so when people want you to do all that, and not do it themselves, and then me try to search through 4,000 or 5,000 videos to try to remember which one answered this question. So, my only suggestion is like, I do videos. I'm so sorry, and they'll get in, and I'm on an iPad. So I'm sitting in my recliner normally doing it with one finger on my iPad. I'm not like at this mainframe looking like it's at the CIA or something. I'm doing it with one finger on my iPad. So a lot of people take videos out of context, out of the flow, and a lot of things, like I really think if I made a video on how the thief on the cross was saved every week, I would still get, well, how was the thief on the cross saved? I've made multiple videos on this. If I made a video on Jesus' baptism every week, I think they would still be people say, well, what about Jesus' baptism? And I know it may sound like I'm frustrated or venting. I'm really not. I'm really just trying to explain. Jesus prayed. How did Jesus pray? So I've done multiple videos on that. Why he prayed in the garden, Athanasius. And so I really think that there would be people that constantly ask, and we do constantly, we're very blessed to have new people watching of, maybe 50, 60,000 views a month. It's way down. Google's kind of deranked us. But now, and it's not all Google's fault, I'll say that. And it's a long story, but just how we do videos, there's a certain thing that if I did, I think Google would rank us better, but it's anyhow, it's a long story. But they say the advertising part doesn't have anything to do with it. Things could be better. But anyhow, that's what I mean by taking videos out of context. That a lot of people watch one video and want to zero in on that one video, and that's totally fine. But they don't realize the last 6 years almost, and it may be after more than 6 years by the time you're watching this, that we've been doing videos and answering these questions many times, hundreds of times. I don't think we've got into the thousands of times yet. We might have on certain questions. And so then they're very frustrated when I don't mention something every time. But again, I feel if you just have to use every caveat every time. So I was with a cousin recently, and he said, man, you put out a lot of videos, but we're just trying to preserve truth in the earth. And, I don't have an axe to grind against anybody. I don't wrestle against flesh and blood. I love everybody. I want everybody to be apostolic. But I'm very comfortable, and that's another thing that is rather frustrating. Like if I let's say I do a Catholic Bible review, and I try to be very kind and fair. Well, there'll be a certain percentage of Catholics that come on and say, hey, thank you for that. You're Pentecostal, and you were very nice and kind. But other people will come on here and say, you're just an anti-Catholic bigot belonging to a cult, and we just hate your guts, and we can't believe you destroyed us. And I guess I was very fortunate to be raised where we could disagree without being disagreeable. And so usually when people have to start using pejorative terms or personal attacks, it lets me know they have no argument at all. And so that's what I mean by taking videos out of context. So before you comment, before you attack, and I know this is one video and it's going to get lost like a needle in a haystack, but if you happen to watch it, be sure that the question that you're writing or the comment you're making hasn't been answered ad nauseum on the channel. and continue to pray for the channel. We all, I hope you've got a sincere desire, not for tradition per se, even though I know occasionally tradition can be a good thing, but to serve Jesus and to love the Jesus of the Bible, because that's where I'm at, wherever that leads me. So God bless. Thanks for watching. Join us daily. Hit subscribe, bell notification, put it on social media, share with your friends. We'll talk with you later in Jesus' name. Thanks for being here.